Mike, a solid 1-1 draw against some very good Championship opposition.
Yeah, it was. I thought they were very good. I thought you can see across the board the physicality and how they started the game. They started it with a lot of intensity, and we took probably 20 minutes to get to grips with that. But I thought after that it was a perfect pre-season game for me to watch, because there's so many things that come out of it. I think there's 4 or 5 boys that need a few more minutes and a few more tests like that, to be honest. And then also on our play out, I thought that there's still areas that we're looking to improve. We want a lot more forward passes, but the intensity to help the ball carriers got to be better as well. But yeah, on the whole, really pleased. I thought how we come back in the game and the chances we created, and we got the goal, and against a very good team.
I suppose a lot of pre-season, when you're playing teams in lower divisions, you're expected to see a lot more of the ball. When you play Championship opposition, I guess you're kind of looking at them having more of the ball and working more out of possession as well.
Yeah, I think the way we wanted to structure it was start pre-season with a lot of our in-possession stuff and our build and into the creative phase. And then when we get to later on pre-season, then the out of possession and the transition comes into it. But I still want it to look like I was in possession. That's the main thing for us. Obviously, the tests we've had have been varied, and they've been really good. And we've had some difficult pitches, so this is the first time when we had a real smooth surface to play with. So that works in both teams' favour. But yeah, of course, we want to make sure that when we arrive for Bradford at home, our out of possession is spot on and our in possession is effortless.
I know that results don't often mean an awful lot in pre-season, but going a goal down after a couple of minutes is probably definitely not the start you'd have wanted.
No, and it shows you the character, the resilience. We still want to create that mentality of winning and making sure that we find a way, and that's solution based. And like I say, that game today was really good, and I thought there's some outstanding performances. I thought Trippy, I thought he was on another level, which was fantastic, and for his age especially. I thought Tom was a very, very solid performance. You can see he's obviously got a very good upbringing and in possession, but then also pulled off some very good saves for us.
And the other Tom Carroll in the centre of the park, I mean, it was telling that those are the 3 players who stayed on the pitch the longest as well.
Yeah, no, he put a real shift in. Picked up a little bit of cramp, which is expected, but no, I think there's so much detail that we're trying to get in the lads, but what was really pleasing was how we started, and it was a bit shaky. I think we looked a bit vulnerable then, but we kept with it, and then by the end of it you could see a bit of fluency in our play, and I thought we were on the ascendancy towards the end of the game.
Certainly I think in the second half you came out and continued that momentum that you started to build in towards the end of the first.
Yeah, and that's what we need to do. Said in there, we just need to make sure in our out of possession transition that we just sense, we kind of smell when we're on the front foot, and we just press the life out of teams. And then there's times where they've got a bit of a foothold in it, and then we have to be a little bit reserved and make sure we get our distances right and just be a little bit more patient. We have to be harder to beat. Our defensive side of the game has to improve from last season, and I think you can see elements of the work that we've been doing. But then when we get on the front foot, we're just relentless in our press and our endeavour, and we're in their faces, and we do what they did to us in the first 20 minutes, but for 90 minutes, that's the dream.
Of course, that's always the I suppose the work in progress, isn't it? And you've said to us before, you're always chasing perfection. It's not always going to be there, but it looks like you've got a good start here.
Well, yeah, I don't think perfection's ever going to be there. I think you're always going to want more, but that relentless endeavour, just that humble hard working, we want to try and win games just on our mindset and our mentality, and then you bring in the talent that we've brought in and the understanding and the detail. We just want to try and stack the odds so far in our favour that any refereeing decisions or freak goals, doesn't really count for much.
On Callum Tripp, he's been a part of sort of the first team fold, I suppose, since he was 15, and it feels like an awfully long time ago, but he's still such a young kid, isn't he? And yet he's coming out and putting in performances like that, and he must be now thinking, you've got a real headache, and you've got a serious player as well.
Yeah, I mean Trippy's been outstanding from the day we come in. He's just got a fearless mentality and approach, and he just seems to, you put challenges in front of him and he just eats them up. And yeah, I think today was a real performance where it's, I'm here and I'm not a young lad that's, that we've got to take seriously now. So when we came in, spoke to Liam, he spoke us through the development of a lot of lads here, and it's about making sure we get the pathway right, and it's important for their development. So a lot of times there's players that are closer to the first team fold than it might seem from the outside, because they go on loan, and we see that as it's really important for their development, and then when they come back they're in a better position. But yeah, sometimes players can just walk straight into it and be a fixture. So we'll have to wait and see. He won't get carried away, and that's the one thing that is a real credit to him. He is humble and hardworking. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic tonight.
We've seen him play in a variety of different positions. I mean, playing a variety of different positions tonight, let alone across the last few years. Whereabouts do you see him as a player, or is he one of those players who can almost be a utility man and pop in where you need him?
Yeah, well, we see him as a centre half who can step into the 4, and now we see him as a wing back. So he's just added that string to his bow. But no, for me, what's really pleasing is there is never any questions, or he never seems to be intimidated. He just eats it all up, and you see for such a big lad, his coordination he's calm on the ball, and he's got that athleticism as well, and he's only going to get stronger and quicker, which is the scary part.
You mentioned there, players going out away on loan. Someone who's come back from a loan spell and almost a bit of a forgotten man last season, Connor Grant, has come back in. Do you see him still with a future at the club?
Yeah, very much so. And again, that's what's the difficult thing about it. Sometimes timing it can go work against certain players, but he's a beautiful footballer. He's really someone who you just watch and you admire, because he's so fluent and everything he does is effortless. And I just thought for his own development, I thought the game time that he would have got in the end wouldn't be beneficial to him. And he's obviously highly rated, and you can see the loan that he gets. So yeah, of course, yeah, he's got bags of talent. I think his potential is still very high as well. So he definitely has.
Ins and outs. It's a pre-season interview. You've got to do it. How's everything looking?
Yeah, it's looking. It's
good.
No,
same as last week then.
Yeah, we're really pleased with the work we've done, but we're still and I always say about how hard this industry is, and I know the fans are fantastic, and they come and they're on the journey with us, and sometimes when it does get tough, it's easy to kind of get frustrated, but the lads are such an honest, hard-working group, and just the mentality of coming in every single day, being tested, being you're never good enough as a footballer, because they say we're always striving for that perfection. And also, the industry is someone will come in and take your shirt, and we see how the game's going, and it's really hard mentally and physically, but the lads we've brought in and the place we're in, we're really pleased with.
I can't imagine that you're going to bring in another 10 before the close of the window, but you must be delighted that you've got the majority of your business done before you've kicked the ball in the proper season. Yeah,
I think that was the plan. You want to try and form as quick as you possibly can, so you've got as long as you can, but I think things will shape up and it will take its natural form. Everyone's just got to make sure that they give everything they've got, and I think that will land us in good stead.